Good evening to you from wherever you're watching us tonight. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm here, me, Adebaya. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about chaos in the ring. It happened yesterday. Very interesting boxing competition, of course, that has opened the landscape for a lot of big sporting events to happen in Nigeria. We'll also talk about the FIFA U-20 World Cup. Flying Eagles seeking their first win in Chile. We will also be talking about the UEFA Champions League. We'll be looking at club football on the continent. I mean, it's 2 out of 4 for Nigeria now, so we'll be trying to pick the pieces as we go on the show. Then, of course, we'll do a post-mortem aftermath of the UEFA Champions League, especially the game between Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, it was the highlight yesterday, and they ended 2-1 in favor of the French money bags, talking about Paris Saint-Germain. So that was the outlook of the show today. Let me quickly introduce our guest in the Lagos studio, Bolu Omoni. He joins us on the show. Bolu, greetings to you. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show today.
Good to be again on this lovely Thursday evening. Too many games in the Europa League. Thursday boys have started the full force, the Europa and the Conference. And of course, the UEFA Champions League keeps showing us why it's still the best club competition. And oh boy, what Morocco are doing right now. That's what they tell. When you plan well, you hope to get results. And so far, so good. It's been going on well for Morocco. 2 wins against elite nations in terms of football. Hopefully, we will learn from this someday.
Hopefully, we will learn, and the win didn't come against a small team. Of course, we say there's no pedigree in underage football, but it's Brazil. It's Brazil, it must be said. But we're not starting there. We're starting from home. And of course, we'll talk about chaos in the ring. But Bolu, you've been hearing about it, and it brought a lot of smiles to the face of people. First, it gave us confidence in what we already know, that Nigeria can host big major sporting events, which we did. It was each free, it was successful, that we can attract the big guns from everywhere to come and do. That was the highlight for me, not about the winners, not about, but that, look, big sporting events can happen here. We can meet acceptable standards globally. We can meet those standards. You see the lights, the entertainment, the who's and who, everybody came to Nigeria. It was great.
Well, one thing is certain, when we put our minds to achieve something, it's the same thing I tell people when they said, can we host the Commonwealth Games the president is talking about for 2030? I said, if we put our hearts together, we can get it. We have the edifice. It's getting ready. Our problem is just planning well.
Yeah.
Getting all those things ready is not a joke at all. It's something we can always work on. We've planned things in mind. We've planned on the 17 World Cup. We've planned on the 20 World Cup. We've planned too many things. If we are ready, we can always make things work. So that's always been the major challenge for me in Nigeria. And chaos in the ring for me was a message that bringing on. Remember, there are talks about Anthony Joshua, there are talks about the Toma and the likes. Oh, can you come to Nigeria, bring big fights to Nigeria? And I guess this was a message to them all that if we are ready, when we are ready, we can always make it work. And hopefully this is the beginning of something great. With this message now, we have some of the elite boxers. Talk about the likes of Ifya Jagba, Anthony Joshua, Nigerian born as well in UFC. AKO already doing too many. So this is a message that in terms of martial arts, combat sports, we are always ready to host one of the best, if not the best events.
All right, and it's good to note that a lot of British-born boxers, you know, with Nigerian blood in them, a lot of them in the US, a lot of them also in mixed martial arts, like Bolu said, and all of them trying to bring something to Nigeria. Let's quickly listen to some people, of course, critical stakeholders, take some reactions from that chaos in the ring. It was an historic event in the calendar of Nigeria. We'll take some reactions, come back for more on Sports Tonight.
So my next thing was to train and get back to the ring next year and go for the world title. The world title, I want to bring it to Nigeria. I want to let all my fans to see. I want to let my family, I want to make everyone proud.
It's just the beginning, or how am I saying? You haven't seen all of me yet. Like, there's so much more to come. But obviously, well wishes to my opponent. I hope he's doing well. Shout out to him because he's a warrior, came out to fight. Anyone that steps into this ring deserves a lot of respect.
they'll be seeing me here soon, God willing, hopefully, and they'll be seeing some knockouts all the way from the UK, back in Nigeria, the homeland, and I can't wait. I'd love to be a part of this event. I think the atmosphere in the week leading up to it has been very good.
You know what he's been through on the ring. He can't just rush down to me because he knows what he's been through. Whatever I throw around, I throw my back. That is what I've been working in the gym. It's easy for me.
The opponent was not easy. He was a very experienced guy. He have a good record in amateurs too. So was a perfect fight for me to build up my score and grow up in boxing, because I'm 25 years, so I have much to learn. But this fight was for sure a growing up fight.
All right. Of course, the boxers and some of the guys who came to see chaos in the ring was very, very interesting. We'll talk more on that. Also, Konakwan is ready now. We usually go on this ride together. Greetings to you, Austin. Chaos in the ring finally happened.
That's for the greetings to you, and of course, our viewers from all over the world. Yeah, chaos in and out of the ring. When I spoke to Dr. Ezekiel Adamu, he said that they want to create a boxing business environment. And if you listen to some of the boxers, they're excited that happened. One of them wishing that he actually fought, that he would come back to fight. But I think it was a fantastic platform for our Nigerian boxers, particularly Yusuf Adeniji. I keep saying that he's got the potential to win a world title fight. And now he has announced himself, to the world. It was a good show from what I saw from a distance, and as Bolu rightly said, our problem is just, ensuring that there's some good level of planning. But when you look at the stage, you look at the conversations that was done before this boxing event happened, the fact that we used it to say Happy Independence Day, the fact that we brought international boxers to Nigeria to compete with the guys back home is a good one. The fact that the private sector keyed into it, there was some level of sponsorship. We're talking about boxing in Nigeria. When I was back home, I can remember that sometimes just one national championship, and that's all. That's everything we're talking about boxing. But this is professional boxing at its best in Nigeria. Lights, camera, action, Bolu. This can, go a long way in developing boxing in Nigeria. Do you agree?
One of the things bringing international sports does for local athletes is it opens your mind. It broadens your horizon that, these guys can do this at an early level. I used to joke about boxing. Growing up, you hear things like Ija Odola. That's what they say in the local parlance. I know fight is for it. But you see boxing now as an elite sport and is accepted by everyone, both young and old in the country. So when you see things like this, it's not just, you are not just seeing Nigerians fighting like a norm. You are seeing professional boxers coming into the country fighting professionally. You are not looking from distance. You are not saying, okay, I'm watching these guys on the screen. You can see them live and direct. There's something it does to your mind, especially if you're a young person who wants to get into that sport. It sends a message to you that, I want to be this. I want to be better than this. I want to also get to this elite level. It encourages young athletes. So for those who brought this and made it happen, I think it's well done to them. Don't just forget the grassroots, because that's where the essence and the growth is coming from.
Yes, I agree with that, Bolu. And talking about those who brought this to us, the promoters and people from the National Sports Commission are promising bigger events, bigger bouts. And if there's anything that's going to be bigger than this, then it is worth waiting for. Let's listen to some of them share their thoughts, of course, on the just concluded chaos in the ring.
This is a brilliant opportunity because it gives them a platform. Now they are being seen globally. Then from there they can get more opportunities to go and fight globally, and their ranking will go higher. And they are already being prepared for the big event. So, both for the entertainment, the sport development, and the economy of sport as well is here.
We need to continue to bring in this event to create a production mill for our athletes. When we talk about sports economy, we talk about a production system rather than a consumption system. Consumption is when we go out and go out. Production is when we keep bringing this stuff and allowing our young talents to get their capacity built through this.
It's only going to motivate the next generation that they want to become boxers, they want to go to the gym, they want to train, and one day they want to fight. So this is only great motivation, not only for the young fighters, but them to become champions. So this is what we have to do. We have to do more events like this. So I think I should come back December 19th. I will do a big event, and that will be bigger, I believe. I believe every time we do events here, it's going to be bigger and bigger and bigger.
We are champions. I mean, look at here. On the night, we have Lawrence Okoli, we have David Adeleye, we have Moses Ituma. These are champions that we have. Anthony Joshua is Nigerian, Deontay Wilder is Nigerian, Efe Ajagba. And look at what we have here. Taiwo Eshepo, we just had Yusuf Adeniji just won his own title as well too. It shows that we have a lot of champions ready to rise. And that's our vision. Our vision we won't stop until we start having world title fights here in Nigeria for Nigerians.
All right, we won't stop. That's the promise. And it's really, really very heartwarming. And like they say in local parlance, America gave us an expo, so we should be expecting something in December, Austin. And if chaos in the ring is anything to go by, then it should be eagerly anticipated.
It should be, by the way, they signed a 3 years, contract with the sponsor, so they probably have some financial backing for 3 years, and as I said, this goes beyond all of the big boxers that came, overseas into Nigeria. It's for me, what it's doing to revive boxing in Nigeria. We talked about Yusuf Adeniji, there was Taiwo Agbaje. I also saw Joker Boy, it was just a little growing up boy when I was, leaving Nigeria, trying to find his way with boxing, but now chaos in the ring has given him an international platform. It's about that platform. Anthony Joshua has been in Ghana these days. They are talking about a big fight that will put big money into his pockets. If we can do that as a country, then that will be good for us. An American, now that he has come to Lagos, Nigeria, to see that we are passionate about boxing, that there's actually a market, that what we need is the right leadership, is the guidance, to do the right things. And you listen to him the other day, he's so pumped up, That's what passion does. When you see people and what they can, give you, understand that, yes, you can do something there. Taiwo Agbaje right there. Tell me the last time we talked about a Nigerian boxer, coming all out to prove that he can do something, because there was no platform, because there's no competition. So, yeah, it will be bigger, as I keep going back to my conversation with Ezekiel Adamu, and for anyone who knows the family, they are big about, making a difference with sporting events. So I want to take his word for it. Say next year we could see the likes of Anthony Joshua, that he wants to bring Deontay Wilder, and all of those guys have got some level of Nigerian background, to their name. So even Daniel Dubois. So this is a country that is so blessed with talent. Look, pictures don't lie, Bolu. When you look at the level of organization that went into this one, I would say let's not start talking about the figures. Let's see first how we can make it consistent, and secondly, Bolu, can this be that platform that can develop boxing in Nigeria?
I think it can. Look, just listen to what American said, and if you think American doesn't know what he's doing, just check out his profile. Someone who had over 30 wins in his entire career. And one thing is certain, if I was in his shoes, which I believe he will, I think we'd rather invest in boxing in Nigeria than to go to US than in England than in Saudi. Why? Because he's spending way less money, and believe me, talent here are ready to give everything they can. So I think it makes a whole lot of sense from the organization. It felt impossible. It felt, there were so many things online. Nigeria is not safe, they can't do this thing, it can't work. Then boom, the event came, everyone was around. The fact that they all enjoyed what they saw meant more will definitely come. And I think it's good news for every boxing enthusiast in the country. You can say to yourself, maybe I need to get into this sport. Maybe I need to meet these top stars.
Right.
It may even just be one thing you hear from them that can change. So well done again to organizers, and more to come.
All right, more to come. And I also hope the administrators are listening, because all of this spills into insignificance if they don't do their part. But so let's just leave it for now. We're hoping to see something bigger and better later. But I want to go across now the screen and talk about the FIFA U-20 World Cup. Bolu, let me give you a few seconds to talk about Morocco. Everything seems to be falling in place for them. And we're not saying it just because of this win. They seem ready and available And if anything drops on their lap, they take it comfortably. And as a bonus, the results are coming in.
Well, one thing is a plan has to be intentional. I remember I think years ago when they invited media men, even one of the presenters channels was there, and they spoke about what they saw. Now, these guys, in fact, they said if they are hosting a World Cup alone, you can send them, different countries can train in different venues and see the fruits. Even this on the 20 World Cup, they could probably have gone the 2 matches against Brazil and Spain without conceding until the late penalty they conceded against Brazil. And 2 men at the key men, Zabri and Yasin, those guys are proving themselves right at this under 20 level. If you do the right things, no matter how long, the results will definitely come forth.
All right. I like the words from Bolu. If you do the right thing, no matter how long it takes, the results will start coming. And let's just quickly look at the results. Matches played today. Argentina, of course, hammered Australia 4-1. Then, of course, our North African brothers, Morocco, defeated the almighty Brazil. Although it's age grade, you can't say almighty, but it's still Brazil, the home of football. All right, matches will be played tomorrow. Our hearts and minds with the Flying Eagles of Nigeria as they seek their first win. They're chasing their first win in Chile. They'll be up against Saudi Arabia. As you already know, there are no minnows in football. Saudi Arabia has been doing a lot to improve sports, not just football. Let's also talk about South Africa. Also lost their first game to France. They'll be up against New Caledonia. Panama will be up against South Korea, and Ukraine up against Paraguay. Also, let me quickly come to you before we probably go on a break. I felt they were unlucky in the first game, and they had many chances. They hit the woodwork like 2-3 times. Maybe with a bit of luck, probably should have been honors shared, but they lost. If they play that same way but take their chances, you feel they are primed for victory.
I totally agree with you. They need to play effective football against Saudi Arabia. I think they had, a bit of hesitation, and the execution wasn't perfect, because in football, when you're creating chances and you're not scoring, then you're not executing properly. So that's why it was difficult for me to say they were unlucky, except for those penalty calls that didn't go their way. Look, I've been the one that has been big on saying, look, this is all about development. But when I see what countries are doing, particularly Morocco that we just talked about, then you want to totally agree that it's about development. But also, when you're playing a competition, you want to start properly. You want to win your first match. And that's why everybody is a bit worried now, because Saudi Arabia can come with a stunner. That's another country that is doing just enough to get the world to talk about them. The World Cup in Qatar, they played their first game against Argentina and stunned Argentina and got the world talking, about them. So they can also believe, because they've been doing loads of work in the background that we don't know about. We have been busy attending competitions. We haven't been giving our football the structure it deserves, particularly from the league. We've been seeing a particular name or 2 names in this under 20 for quite some time. And we're doing our job as the media to say, if we keep doing this, then we're not building, When we're doing this sort of competition, that's why I keep using women's football as a yardstick, because we see how effective, how productive the league is. We can see progression. We talked about this last week, so let me not go back to it. Against Saudi Arabia, they must create chances and take it. They must announce themselves there.
Right.
They must go out there, win that one, and get their campaign back on track.
All right, get their campaign back on track. That's the most important thing for Nigerian fans. That's what we want to see. All right, we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we will talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. We'll talk about the UEFA Champions League and, of course, CAF club competitions when we return from this break. All right, welcome back. Bolu, let me just allow you, probably in a few seconds, have your say. Flying Eagles, your thoughts and what you think they need to do. And probably a bonus question of whether or not you think 1 or 2 of these players can make that transition that Austin is keen about to the Super Eagles?
Well, first of all, the game itself, I just think they need to do the basic they couldn't do against Norway. It had to even adjust from what they did. The only thing they got wrong was being more clinical. They had almost 70% possession in that game. They got about 20 shots. They just could not. Like you rightly mentioned earlier, they hit the woodwork about 3 times in the game. Even I thought the penalty they considered was unfortunate. They just need to be more clinical. Not underrating Saudi Arabia.
And they had calls of their own that were ignored.
Exactly. Not that to underrate Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia football has grown in the last few years, but obviously we are still better in terms of the talent and performance. Just be more clinical. 1-0 is not that bad. Saudi also lost 1-0. It means they know they have a chance to also progress. So our boys just do better. In terms of progression, the Super Eagles team now, yeah, they are young, but people are already talking about, oh, if we miss this World Cup, plans for next edition, about half, if not more than half of these guys will not be at the next World Cup. It means we need to plan. How do you plan? On the 17, on the 20. Find a way to blend some of them, if not all of them, into the national team. And based on the performance I saw, not results, the performance from these boys, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I hope that performance now turns into results. On the 17, we talk more on the performance improvement. But when you start getting to under 20, people are now talking about, okay, maybe they need to start having the winning mentality. From what these boys displayed in their first match, they have what it takes. But again, they need to win because we know ourselves. Any under 8 team that don't get to do well at tournaments,
forget them in a hurry.
We forget them.
We forget them in a hurry, unfortunately. All right, let's move on. Talk about rescheduled matches in the Nigeria Premier Football League. We'll see the results. Not really much of a change on the table, but of course we're going to show you so that you see. I'm going to go across in a bit. But let me ask Austin, while we're at it, the rescheduled matches, the results, any of the results come to you as a surprise?
Not exactly, but some important wins, right there, particularly for Abia Warriors and Rivers United. Unfortunately, it is happening, but I don't like this rescheduled fixture because it takes away a bit of the, expectations that we'll expect that we'll be expecting to see on the real match day. But I also understand that these teams were busy on the continent and they really needed to play. So shout out to Abia Warriors. When you play Remo Stars in the league these days and you win, then it's big deal, because of the sort of setup that they have. It's beyond just going onto the pitch to play football. They come with some level of seriousness, professionalism. The management is cool. So that's why I'm bigging up Abia Warriors for that win. And of course, Rivers United needed to beat Niger Tornadoes to keep pressure as regards what's happening at the top of the table right there. So no surprises actually, Yemi, but hey, it's just match day 6. Let's wait to see. I start talking about the Nigeria Premier Football League and its expectations from the second stanza.
All right. Maybe we'll just have to wait. We'll just let our viewers see in a few seconds. We're going to see right behind me the results. And Austin has talked about the results. I'm very sure it's going to come. Yeah, there it is. Abia Warriors beating Remo Stars. Kwara United, they are out of the CAF Confederation Cup. So a bit of a consolation beating Plateau United at home. The Rivers United beating Niger Tornadoes. And Bolo, quickly, just to talk about Rivers United a little, a colleague of ours that just put me aside and said, you seem to disrespect Rivers United because you're always talking about Eyimba giving us a kind of representation we want, but we forget that over the last 5 years, Rivers United have been very, very consistent too.
Well, the difference between both of them is Eyimba at their best hits the semi-final. In fact, when we almost lost our spot, Eyimba got us back with the semi-final play. But Rivers United, like you mentioned, they've been hitting around the Confederations Cup, the Champions League playoffs and everything. And like 2 teams I wish could win the league last season, Rivers United for Finidi George and Remo Stars for what they've done in the last few years since they came. Remo have got that. Hopefully Rivers get to win it this time just to shut some people off with all those, he has no idea about football, blah, blah, blah. But their consistency has paid off. In fact, when we saw the draws, I said to myself, Rivers looked like the only team, in my opinion, that could make the continental group stage.
Even though we're not talking about CAF Champions League, and I'm going to let Austin say this too before we talk about UEFA Champions League. Do you agree with people who feel that Rivers United stand a better chance than Remo Stars of getting into the group phase of the CAF Champions League?
Immediately the draws were made, I said to myself, Rivers United look like I think we've asked here as well that they look like the only team that I feel will make the continent. Not disrespectful.
Considering the route.
Immediately I saw Remo Stars first round, easy peasy. Then I saw Sundowns at the end. On paper, it's possible. Anything is possible in football. We've seen surprise results. But when you look at both teams, based on history, performance, you will almost beat your chest that Sundowns would be Remo Stars. But I want to be disappointed. I want to see Rivers United and Remo Stars in the group phase of the Champions. Remo Stars have come too far. They always get out, especially in the first round. Hopefully, they get through. But my money is probably on Rivers United to make it.
All right. That was just on our side. Wasn't supposed to be part of the conversation, but I couldn't resist. Throwing it in. All right. So this is what it looks like after the rescheduled matches. And I hear also laughing at the background. I probably has something to say as well. But Nassau United on top after 6 matches. You don't want Eyiba and Rivers United to be behind you, but that's the situation here. And of course, Abia Warriors propping it up in 4th position. So this is what it looks like. Bottom 4, you have Rangers International, Palau FC, Kano Pillars, Cool Khalifa. Trust me, Rangers and Kano Pillars, when their matches are completed, definitely won't be here. So, Austin, take your own piece of the pie with that question. Of the two, I'm just asking this off the cuff. Of the two, some have started saying it looks like it might just be Rivers United, based on the opposition, might be the one to, make it to the money spinning group stage.
But it doesn't work that way with the CAF Champions League particularly, because all of the teams playing this second preliminary round, they understand the mission is to get into the group phase. We're just looking at names because of what Mamelodi Sundowns seem to have also done with their football in the last 5 years. But big ups to Remo Stars, particularly I think 3 seasons ago when they showed promise, went to Morocco as far and then didn't lose, but they were just unfortunate. It didn't go their way back home in Ikene. They have the mentality of a big team, and that can work for them. Rivers United deserves all the respect that they can get now, because in the last 3-4 seasons, they've been consistent, they've been competing. And that's why whoever talked to you about the comparison with Eimba and Rivers United has got a big point on Rivers United, because if you check the way Eimba ended their season the last time, it didn't speak well of the kind of name that they command in Africa. So that's why Rivers United should be the team that everyone can look at and say, they can do something. But Black Bulls, let's not forget, I think it was Eimba that played them the last time in the CAF Confederation Cup. They're not a small team here. They're no pushover. And when you play those sort of teams that come into a competition with the tag of the underdogs, they can hurt you when you least expect, But shout out to Rivers Stars, Rivers United. I completely I wanted to say Remo Stars and Rivers United, and I just joined and said Rivers Stars. So they've been consistent. They've shown good mentality. Still unbeaten in the league, by the way. Let's put that out there. Eimba also still unbeaten. So it means it's good form for them. Remo Stars, as I said, everything is going on well for them. The defending champions of the league, the management is so serious. Even they're playing in Abeokuta, it's not showing. They're having a stadium upgrade. Those sort of things, remember, that's what I said, that those are the things that you can do to start winning even before you get into the pitch. So with this analysis, why can't we have both Nigerian teams in the group phase?
All right, it will be good if it happens. We had 4, we had 2 now. Why don't we just keep the 2? Let's see what happens with that one. So let's go to the UEFA Champions League, and that's where we spend the rest of the time tonight. Bolu, it was a game that most people would have loved to see in the final. In fact, that was what we thought we were going to see in the final until Inter showed up. Talking about last season's UEFA Champions League final. And yesterday I felt for Barcelona. Sometimes just defend. Don't be desperate to win. And they got caught with a sucker punch. PSG going all the way to Spain and beating Barcelona. Hansi Flick obviously not happy with the result. Classic counter, and PSG scored. Your thoughts on the game and your takeaways? Because a lot of people will also tell you PSG playing without a lot of regulars and they're still able to beat Barcelona in Spain.
Well, the interesting thing about that game was it felt like PSG's plan worked. Not even felt like their plan worked really well at the end of the day. 4 of their starters were not there. 5 of the players that started in the final were not there. In fact, That was my prediction for final, Inter Milan versus PSG, and I got it. Even though I didn't expect that kind of whitewash in the final. Marquinhos, the captain, was out injured. Kvaratskhelia out injured. Ousmane Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner, out injured. Desiree out injured, and they still played Barcelona. Barcelona had maybe, let's say, 30-35 minutes of the game. Towards the end of the first half, PSG started coming alive. Then immediately they got their rhythm in the second half. That's why Rashford couldn't last long, because it felt like they held on to that game. They got the equalizer, then the winning goal came. When I saw Rayo Vallecano versus Barcelona, I said to myself, these guys have shown everyone how to beat the team. Have a man up front in offside position, but the pass is going to the wings, run down, it becomes onside, and the goal came through. But it shows the importance of those three magicians in the midfield for PSG. João Neves, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz. People underrate those guys. We all focus on the goal scorers. You see those three guys, so long they are fit, so long they are playing well, and anyone, just play any front three, they will likely do well because they have those three men in the middle.
Austin, I want to ask you this. I mean, looking at Barcelona, the high line has worked so well for them, but most of the time they get punished. And yesterday was a classic example. Do you think Hansi Flick would probably start looking at the high line and like, I mean, we've gotten exposed, and I think we've been found out?
I totally agree with you, and it's been a problem, and he's been talking about it in the media. They must find a way to play, attacking football with a defensive mindset. Because if teams come to you and believe that they can score you, even if you win, if you're scoring 4 goals and they score you 5, you're still going to lose. They've perfected their play going forward, but it's just something about when you do the high press, you must think about what you're going to do when you don't have the ball. Very, very important, because when you know what you're doing when you don't have the ball, when that will push you to get the ball to do what you need to do, So that late win for PSG could have been avoided if the team had a defensive mindset. So that is something that he really needs to find a way to do. But hey, PSG, they're over the moon. They like that win, and they've been celebrating it. Let's listen.
Very disappointed. It's normal. We are disappointed because we also want to show today our much better performance like we did, and of course everyone is disappointed. The whole staff, I think the whole fans, everyone. But it's normal. But at the end, it's like that. It's football, and we have to accept this. But we have to work on that we are getting stronger. It was like PSG control more the game. So we suffered a little bit in the first half, but also in the second half we have this control of the game in the second half. We had not the structure normally we have, and I think we played not on our highest level. But this is necessary when you play in the Champions League, especially also against opponent with this quality of PSG. They did really good, especially in the second half, and they deserved the victory.
So that's Hansi Flick, particularly when you're losing a game at a time when you shouldn't lose it, that it's a big problem. Bolo, I'll come to you, but let's listen to Mikel Arteta. Arsenal seem to be showing good character, fought back against Newcastle, and a difficult game against Olympiacos. 3-4 seasons ago, that game would have ended in a draw, but the Gunners kept pushing, kept fighting, and somehow they went on to win that one 2-0. That's why I said it was a good show of character. Mikel Arteta has something to say about that win.
Very happy. Obviously, winning the Champions League is always very complicated. Keeping another clean sheet, we make, I think, 11 in 14 games, which is remarkable from the boys. I think we started the game really well. I think we looked a real threat, really dynamic, really playing forwards, a lot of run, a lot of threats. Generated the goal and another 2 or 3 big chances, and we don't put them away in this competition. You have to be careful. The first arrival, David had to make an incredible save to deny the goal, which you need in this competition as well. And after that, we had moments of a lot of dominance, as you said, and some others that without control and dominating a direct play, we got a little bit deeper. And every time they put balls in the box with the crosses, a team that is very, very dangerous. At the end, again, missed 2 big chances, but at the end find a way with Bukayo to score a goal and breathe a little bit in the first few minutes, because it's a team that end up the game really well. I think they won 5 already this season in the last few minutes, and we discussed that they're going to keep believing till the end, and they made it difficult to the end.
Arsenal's manager, Mikel Arteta. Bolu, it looks like the mentality is getting into the team. What's working for Arsenal? Is it the depth that they have in the squad now, or the team is ready to win now?
Well, you said something about Barcelona earlier on that as much as you attack, don't forget defending. That's the flip side to Arsenal. Arsenal can score and they can defend with their life. If those guys need to defend one goal, believe me, the best you can hit is the woodwork. That's why they tell you defending is an art. And whether anyone likes it or not, Gabriel, Megalesh, and Saliba, those guys have become the best central defensive pair in the whole of Europe because they have this synergy and this bond, knowing that you can't break us. And see what they did against Newcastle over the weekend, fought hard, scored later on. In this game, Olympiacos have been, in fact, in about 30 games away matches for Olympiacos. They've only lost 4 or 5. It shows how resolute they can be away as well. But Arsenal are telling you at the Emirates Stadium, we are doing everything possible to win. Martinelli is becoming more important, more useful for them so far this season. And the man who many felt the injury, Nonimado came in allowing play well. He also got the second goal for them. Arsenal look to be a more compact team right now. They look to be a more solid squad. Those that come off the bench will get in the goals. Those that will start can threaten anybody. That's the champions mentality. I really wish them well. I don't know if they'll win anything this season, but the way those guys are going, and I wish Arteta can now map himself out. This is the most important title we need to go all out for. This one is second option and the like. With the way those guys are playing, if they continue like this through the end of the season, who says Arsenal can break that jinx of a title this season?
I also think he's learned some lessons early. And also when you have Martin Odegaard around, everything becomes a bit fluid.
He's giving him the freedom this time.
I think he has led Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, and the other Spaniard, his name beats me now. It's not going to work. You know, they've struggled when you have those three playing together, no creativity. And he also learned that Eze can play in that position if Odegaard is not playing. And the fact that he has learned those things early enough is what I think is the other dimension, apart from the fact they're scoring, they're defending. I think it's also that, and they have a big squad. So whether or not they win anything, it's left to be seen. But the signs are good.
Well, as a manager, we know you are the boss. You know you are supposed to know everything. But if you take advice from people, things will work out for you. There are some times that fans may see something. They send messages to the manager, and I'm sure Arteta is listening. You could see initially he felt, Eze will only play here. Now Eze has played on the left, played on the right, played at the number 10 role. You need to be dynamic about your squad. Make it unpredictable for your position to know who is playing well. Again, I'm probably one of Arsenal's biggest haters, but I would really wish them well to win something, either the FA Cup, the Premier League, or even the Champions League. Why? Because they've built this squad over the years, and it feels like they are reaping. Maybe a self-fade happens to them, but if you leave it to chances, the way these guys are going, they know what is at stake. And like you mentioned, they've learned early. The early mistakes have happened. Okay, this is where the loopholes are. Good to start well, make mistakes early, and build on that. To think you are going unbeaten, then suddenly you crumble. Let's see how far you can recover from with this their squad. They have a good squad depth, and that's one thing that's not worked out for them in recent years.
All right, let's move on the show. Let's talk about Manchester City. You can talk about Erling Haaland scoring all the goals. You can't say the same for the team. There are some issues. Pep Guardiola has told us about Rodri. He just can't cope with the rigors of the game now, so he has to find ways of using Rodri. Haaland scored 2 goals, but Monaco found a way to just get a point and share the spoils. So he ended in a 2-2 draw. Let's listen to the manager of Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, probably give us reasons why his team could not win, but he still seems to be pleased with the result.
Football, you have to win. It's a result. If you analyze how was the game was in many things really good, step by step, and we'll do better. But many things, we get chances we found, especially Phil in the first half, and many good players played really, really good, and we concede almost nothing, and we create the chances. They defend so deep, so tight that it wasn't expected for the way they play. Monaco always play with 4 in different way. They adjust, but we adapt really good and we play really good. This is my feeling. But of course, when it's close, we have to defend. Not defend. It's set pieces, of course, of that, and yeah, we take the point. That is only I can say. They play a lot of long balls because we didn't play one from behind. We didn't win that balls with them in the second. We're a little bit more open in the middle. That is the only thing I would say we could have done better. The only thing. The rest, with the chances, the posts, the bars, and the actions that we have for the last pass, for the last action, it was really good.
All right, you can go on and on listening to Pep Guardiola. A lot of people have their criticism, but it's a man I like. Abolu, Pep Guardiola just gives you the vibes of somebody who loves the game, understands the game, and it talks about the intricate details that just make you love football. And that's why I like listening to him. It was painful seeing him last season. This was a very painful experience. I never saw Pep Guardiola like that, subdued, sad, and depressed. But it seems to be coming out of that, should I call it mild depression because of the results, seems to be enjoying the game. But you still feel he needs a sabbatical. I don't know why you feel that way.
He needs that break, especially what happened. He was scratching himself, injured himself and all. Everyone loves title. He wants to win. But Pep is probably the only manager that even if the team doesn't win, if he enjoys what he saw, he'll tell in the press, oh yeah, but see yesterday they got over 70% possession, but they just could not win. And people will tell you.
And he singled out just one thing that they didn't do well. Every other thing was fine.
You can't take away what Haaland is. There are probably 3 strikers now that don't. Yes, they care, but they just keep scoring. Haaland, Harry Kane, and Kylian Mbappe just keep scoring the goals. It means it's still the same thing we said about Barcelona as well, defending. As much as you can score, still give a reference. If you score 4 goals and you concede 5, you lose. And that's one of the problems. He has tried everything. Played all central defenders and back 4, play full back split. It's just not what he needs to fix that defense. If he means fixing from the midfield, if he fixes the defense, maybe playing well and scoring goals may help them. But until then, he may still end up being trophyless if he doesn't fix that defensive problem.
All right, and Austin, I don't know if this is going to be a parting shot because it seems I think the major problem with that Manchester City team is that Guardiola has taken a lot from all of these players, and some of them seem to have diminished. I mean, you're looking at Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, John Stones, all of these guys, you know what they could do, but you see them play these days and you just shake your head. It's not the same anymore.
But he has also done enough to, bring some new legs that actually got us talking, But look, to whom much is given, much is expected. But I strongly believe it's a psychological problem, and every club goes through it. That case that they had at the tribunal was a big distraction, to Manchester City. And they're still not yet off the hook completely because they are definitely still being watched. So there are a lot of things happening behind the scene that seem to be affecting. Pep Guardiola was fighting a divorce. He was going through the divorce process when they were losing, and we did not understand what was going on. Look, that's why I keep saying with our sports personalities, we should consider mental health because everybody expects them to get out there and get the results done. But hey, this is Manchester City, and that's why I said to whom much is given, much is expected. When the Arabs pump money into your football club, and they do proper business with it, then you must make money. But if you take a look at the team that played that game yesterday, Tijani is somebody that really gets people talking. Is an exciting prospect. As a Bernardo Silva is one person that looks like he has done so much for this Pep Guardiola team and has nothing to give again. So I don't know, the way he loses the ball sometimes and how he's no more effective on it is a big problem. But when they play as a team, I think they can still be the Manchester City that we know, But it's football. Shout out to Monaco. Manchester City still feel robbed. They believe that wasn't a penalty. But that first goal that they scored, Texas, I think, scored a cracker of a goal to bring Monaco into the conversation, and they got a penalty and they deserve to pick a point. Maybe Manchester City will go back, have a look, rejig their mentality, and start playing the sort of football that the fans expect them to play. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.
It's a wrap in Lagos as well, but first we want to thank Bolo Money for his time on the show today.
It's always a pleasure coming on.
All right, that's the show. We hope you enjoyed everything. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.